obviously put that stuff into practice on the grass. But a couple of meetings with the players, and they've been really bright and positive.
What's the message then? Is it season starts now? It's curtailed, if you like, but we go from here?
Yeah, I mean, we have to start sooner than later. We understand that because of the start that we've had. But no, it started against Wolves, and we have to accept that. So in, a couple of presentations and meetings that we have done, we've obviously looked at the stuff, not looking at it through rose-tinted glasses as well. We have to be better at a lot of things. But as you know, the Premier League is unforgiving, and it punishes you if you're slightly off of it. And we have been off of it on some things. Others, as I said, I've been pleased with. But there's definitely been a mood change over the last couple of weeks. I think you obviously understand the fixture list as much as I do, and what we had to go through, and the teams that we're playing, and the Chelsea game. Yeah, it was a tough evening for us, especially the last 20 minutes. But we're through that. We understand, and putting it into perspective that we need to pick up some points in these next 10 games leading up to into the new year, and obviously it's a huge game for us, as it is always against West Ham on Sunday.
What's your analysis then of the first 8 games? Because we've spoken before, and think of Liverpool in particular, when no shortage of effort. You're delighted with the performance and the way the lads stuck at it. But obviously, it's points and results, as you've often said, that are the critical factors in all of this. So what's your analysis?
Yeah, I mean, I'll always say we're massively up against it. I think one of the things that I've been doing through the break has been looking at different teams and looking at the competition that we're in, looking at a couple of documentaries, looking at the Man City documentary and the Tottenham documentary, and I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know whether I should have watched it or not. So yeah, we're at this level, even though at times they seem to be on a different planet to us, but we're trying to close that gap. Through that, through the sort of reflection, there's certain things that we can't control. We can't control the fixture list, and obviously that's been quite a difficult one recently with the run of games that we had. Stuff that we can't control, sort of the contact injuries that we've had. A couple of the decisions which have gone against us, but certainly we will always look at ourselves first and foremost, and the stuff that we can control. Taking more risk around the final third, showing a little bit more quality, being better on set pieces for and against. First pass out, just sort of the fundamental things that make us, the best that we can be, and looking at from a stats point of view. But unfortunately, I can't really affect everybody else's opinion, and not that I'm not bothered about affecting it really. The top and bottom of it is that we're in the position that we're in, and the players' attitude is one we're desperate to change that. And like last year, I think you can only reflect at certain periods on the bigger picture, and that for me, as always, is a reflection of the season at the end of it. And there's still a lot of games to go, but we're realistic, and we know that if we don't pick up points pretty quickly, it's going to be a real struggle for us. But we're all determined to do that.
And in terms of everybody coming back from international duty, we're all very well aware of the issues that arose after the previous break with testing and so on. How's everyone shaping up?
Yeah, there's a couple of issues. Obviously, it's been difficult when they go away and they're out of our control and out of our bubble. Different standards and obviously different issues. So we've got a few issues, as you can understand. We've got a couple of injury situations that you can understand. The positive is that Mousset's back in full-time training and might be available for the weekend, which is great news. John Fleck's been training, which is a huge boost for us. As you can imagine, John's been fabulous for us right the way through my time here at the football club. So I think for the other players to see those two boys back training and trying to get to full tilt is great news for everybody. But there's certainly situations from a testing point of view, from an injury point of view, that we'll leave right to the last minute to give us the best possible opportunity of picking the right team.
Is John Fleck available for selection this weekend?
Yeah, he is, yeah.
One other thing that's come up in the last few days, Jurgen Klopp did an interview in which he said during the break, the Premier League managers got together, had a chat, and he believes another 4 or 5 have come around to his way of thinking that there should be 5 subs. There's already been 2 votes on this for the Premier League, and both have been lost. Where are you stood on this matter now? Has it changed?
Well, there was certainly a lot of persuasion going on. I know that, but as you can imagine, there was no moving me. So for whatever Jurgen did or tried to persuade, and I understand and fully respect those managers that are playing European football, and the fixture list is congested. I'd like to be involved in that. I'm sure I'm not going to be doing it pretty soon. The way my team and we're all performing, but Sheffield United is only my one concern. And I think Liverpool is only Jurgen Klopp's concern, and Manchester City is Pep's, and they might say it's the concern of everybody else, but I'm not so sure about that. And rightly so. They have to look after their own clubs, and as much as I'll look after our interest at Sheffield United, there has been 2 votes. It seems they're desperate for another vote, but as in Premier League rules, there's 20 clubs in this division. I think people recognise that, so there's 20 votes. And if at a time it gets changed, then we'll all accept it, as people should accept it as it is at the moment, and understand there's been international games, but we're through that. From my point of view, I don't think it's conclusive regarding the substitutes and the substitutions, the third substitutions. I'm not so sure when the big teams play the big teams that there's that many substitutions as well and changes. I think the everybody will always try and pick their best players, as seen over a number of years. And but I'm sympathetic regarding timings of games, regarding the internationals that have been. We've talked about that. Was it necessary for a round of international games, or would it have been sensible to cut down those games? Obviously, there'll be a different view from national level to club level. But my point of view, it doesn't help us. We're after always the small gains, as I've talked about. Us being in the Premier League for the first time in a very, very long time, and obviously I think we've 2 or 3 seasons in the Premier League over the last 25 years. So trying to establish yourself is really hard, and trying to close the gap is really difficult. And from my point of view, as I said, the things that I've said, we've got no soft tissue injuries at our football club. I think Dean said it as well from Aston Villa's point of view, and everybody should respect everybody's angle and point of view. So, yeah, quite a bit of persuasion. But if it goes down to a vote and it gets changed, then fair enough. But I still think that, as you said, in the stuff that I've just said there, I think Man City, Liverpool, there was 1 or 2 changes, and the best players will always play. Those teams will always play their best players, and if there is a situation regarding fatigue physically, I think that's an opportunity for these huge, powerful clubs that invested millions and millions of pounds in their squads and their academies to rotate and change their team accordingly. I think said if it goes down to a vote and it gets changed, then I will accept it. But it is as it is, and for me, we'll carry on as it is.
Final one from me, Chris. Obviously, this week there's been a lot of talk again about concussion, head trauma, obviously dementia, with the 66 side being heavily affected by it. Over your time in football, have you seen training methods change? Is there any concern on your part about dementia for people who have played the game and the amount of times they head the ball? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, we'll only get to the bottom of it through medical science and testing and coverage. Obviously, it is a concern. I go back to my old granddad when he played, and he used to talk to me. This is when I first started playing football. Over what 40 odd years ago, when he talked about the olden days and the big ball with the lace on it and heading it. So yeah, it is a concern, and obviously great sympathies to all the families concerned and connected to the guys that have obviously lost their lives. Huge sympathy for that, and obviously dementia in football, has to be taken seriously. So I think just coverage of it and investigation is the only way forward. But there's really been no change in terms of training methods from my point of view since I started coaching and managing over 20 years ago, and it is part and parcel of the game. So studies and investigations obviously is the way forward, but very sympathetic to what is happening at the time, and if those studies and investigations can help us going forward, then obviously we'll act on that.
Appreciate your time, Chris. Good luck this weekend.
Okay, mate.
Cheers.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, Adam.
Hi. First of all, Rhian Brewster and John Egan both got knocks on international duty. What's their situations? Yeah,
we'll give everybody the maximum time to recover, assessing by the medical staff on every player that's been away. Obviously, when they do go away, they put themselves in the firing line. So looking at them from a physical point of view, from an injury point of view, travelling and everything. So there's been some games for them boys, but we'll give them as long as possible and try and pick the correct side to hopefully get a positive result on Sunday.
So the likes of Brewster, Egan and Stevens, have they all got a chance of playing at the weekend?
Yeah, they've all got a chance. Yeah, all got a chance, and obviously add Fleck into that and Mousset into that because they've been back training for a week now, full time. So as I said, it's a discussion between myself, the staff, and the medical department. We have to make sure that we don't damage these boys long term, because there's still, as people recognise, 30 odd games to go. So we can't afford to lose them by taking huge gambles. But as I've always said here, every player here wants to put their hand up and play all the time, which is a great position for me to be in as a manager.
Seen various bits being posted by the club on social media about Jack O'Connell's progress. Are you happy with how he's developing and trying to get himself back to fitness?
Yeah, I mean, Jack's situation is for the season and going longer is we'll only know when he gets back with a ball at his feet. Really, he can do all the work that he's doing now, and it's great. And the work that he's doing, the treatment that he's having is intense, and it's full on. But really, we've really wrote Jack out off our plans till well into the new year, maybe February, because the defining moment for Jack is when he gets back, and he gets back into training, into preparation for returning to full training, really, which is obviously ball introduced, movements that he has to do, and obviously contact with other players in a fast moving game.
Just one more on players. In terms of Sander Berger, obviously Norway's games were cancelled by the health minister in Norway. Is he back? Is he eligible to play? Has he had to isolate? What's his situation?
Yeah, we're just waiting for instruction regarding Xander, as we are a couple of other boys that have been away. So he's in that category of obviously question mark at the moment, Adam.
Thanks, Chris. In terms of your current situation, is this where you really learn about your players, and is there a bit of an onus on them now to really show that they are Premier League players?
They don't have to prove anything to me. They are Premier League players. They proved that last year. The key is obviously to maintain that and establish themselves in the Premier League. And as I've just said, in the spare time, looking at some of these, and I don't know whether I should have done or not, these Amazon documentaries. It's an incredible division that we're in and involved in. It's not going as well as we'd liked it to be so far this season. But as I've said, in previous interview, we're there, we're fighting, we're learning. We're trying to close the gap. The gap is a huge one, as you can imagine. And if you have watched those and know where we are as a football club, you'll recognise that and realise that. And I think more majority of people will put it into perspective. But that doesn't make any change in the fact that we want to win games of football in this division. It was a tough run. Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, and Chelsea on the spin. I think everybody will recognise that's quite a tough run of games for everybody, for anybody in our division, especially one that is having a little bit of a struggle up at the moment. But there's plenty of fight in us, as I said. Time to reset, time to look at things. Maybe not always on the training ground, especially with a few of the players away. Look at the stuff that we can do better, we can control, some stuff that we can't control that we talked about, and go again and enjoy the challenge. And I think that's what we're all doing. We're enjoying it. We're enjoying the challenge. We're not enjoying the league position, of course we're not. But there's still plenty of fight in us, and we understand that in these next 10 games leading up to Christmas, we've got to give ourselves a fighting chance by picking up some wins and picking up some points. But we have to play really well as we did last year, and we're going to have to do that this year. We're going to have to do a lot of things right to do that because of the competition that we're in and the players and the teams that we're up against.
Have you heard Tony Pulis' first press conference as Wednesday manager? Sheffield United got a mention. Have you heard that?
Did we? My old pal, has he got a job, has he, my old pal?
He has indeed. To quote, no disrespect to Sheffield United, but if you got this club into the Premier League, talking about Wednesday, it would be the biggest club in Sheffield.
It's great to have Tony back in football. He's a proper football man. So all I'm bothered about is Sheffield United, as you can imagine, and trying to get a result in the Premier League on Sunday afternoon. But enormous amount of respect for Tony and what he's done, and the career he's had, and he's a good man.
In terms of West Ham this weekend, then, plenty of history, as you've alluded to anyways. There's still a little bit extra on games with West Ham.
No, not really. I think I talked about it last year. It's really all water under the bridge. What happened, sort of, what we're talking about now, 11 years ago, was it? Cookie, 10, 11 years ago? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, plenty of water under the bridge. We had a couple of great results against them last year, and they're still an established Premier League team, and with a lot of good players and an outstanding manager who's putting his mark on his team. So yeah, as I said, the fixture list as it has been, but it still doesn't really change anything. It's still really tough opposition. They've had a positive start to the season, and it's a game that we're really looking forward to. But in terms of what happened sort of 10, 11, 12 years ago, we can't affect that. It will always be brought up and people will talk about it and whatever, but from my point of view, full focus on us getting a result.
Any surprise, really, that David Moyes has come in and made them harder to beat? They've had some really good and impressive results so far this year. Yeah, they have.
Yeah, they have done. Yeah, they've obviously changed the system. So, and as I've said, they're an established Premier League club in terms of infrastructure, facilities, academy. Players that they've got. Some really good players there. So, and the manager. I think he's one that LMA Manager of the Year 2 or 3 times when he was at Everton, established Everton, and went and managed at Manchester United. So, you know, an absolute top manager of English football over the last sort of 15 years. So, up against it from a coaching point of view, but it's about what the players do on the pitch. You know, we try and affect it off the pitch on the Monday to Friday or whatever day it is leading up to the game, and try and pick the right team and try and pick the right tactics. But it's, you know, it boils down to a lot of things on match day, and the players are good enough to win. They know that, but they know they have to play well to go and get that result. So. You know, we've had a decent couple of weeks now. We're reset. We understand now. You know, 30 games to go now. We needed the break. We needed, in my opinion, we needed to get through that Chelsea game, which obviously we did, and not get the result. But we're fighting. There's obviously going to be a lot of opinion on us, you know, locally. I get that. Nationally, always being in the Premier League, but. We have to shut all that out and get on with gaining points in the Premier League. I keep saying it. We've all worked extremely hard to be. It's where everybody wants us to be. Yeah, to be. And now we've got to go and prove that we're good enough. We're good enough to get in it. We were good enough to stay in it. Now we've got to go and do it again. And that is the continual challenge and continual obstacles and hurdles that you have to get over. And there's no point feeling sorry for yourself. You just got to get on with the job, and affect what we can affect, which I'm sure I'm positive that we can do.
I appreciate your time, Chris. Good luck from me.
Thanks.
Hi, Chris. You okay?
Yeah, not bad. You?
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you. I'm just interested to know what the mentality is for the group now. Do you have to accept that this is a relegation battle, or is it too early for that kind of talk?
This is quite a difficult one for me to talk about, because I think, you know, you look at our start, and obviously, are we going to replicate what we achieved last year? I think it's going to be quite difficult to do that. And every season has different challenges, and this season. For in a lot of ways, Paul has brought up different challenges, which I've talked about for quite a while to you, and openly and honestly in press conferences. So I think we're always going to understand that you know, it's going to be a scrap. It's going to be a battle right the way through. I think it'd be quite unfair to take my comments as negative. I just think that it's going to be realistic. You know, realistic for Sheffield United in the Premier League, full stop. Realistic for the start that we've had, definitely. But it's not how you start; it's how you finish, and all those, you know, all those sayings and phrases and whatever will be coming out. But we've just got to get on and take them game by game. And add to our points total. It's not very good at the moment. We accept that and understand that. It's where it's at. We can't change that, what's gone off, but what we can do is change what's in front of us, and I'm positive and confident we can do that. Fleck coming back's a huge boost for us. Mousset coming back's a huge boost for us. The break, I think, it will have done us the world of good. To reset, look at aspects of the game where we can improve, look at aspects of the game that we've done okay in. And, you know, for me, as I keep saying, being in every game, in every game, we have to make sure that being in every game balances itself up between getting points in every game, or the games that we're playing. So that's the challenge now. And I'm not being disrespectful to the next 10 teams, but it isn't Liverpool, Man City, and Chelsea. So, but still understand that these teams that we're playing against are still big, powerful Premier League teams that can hurt you if you're not right. So we have to get ourselves right mentally, physically, and go out and play with a freedom and a passion that represents what we've done, represents how we've played, and what we need to do to gain points in this division.
Fans obviously can't affect things in the stadium, but I just wondered if you were aware of various social media campaigns, support groups that have been launched by fans to try and spread positivity through these, challenging times for the group. Is that something you've come across or been made aware of?
I know what Sheffield United fans are all about, as you can understand. I think there'll always be, every football club, unrealistic supporters that think that you should be in a position that should be in a different position to what you are in. Should be going and buying players what you can't buy, doing things what you can't do, impossible to do. There'll always be those supporters. There'll always be supporters that you possibly shake your head at times and thinking I really don't understand where you're coming from. But I think if there's any Sheffield United manager who's in touch with the supporters and know what they're about and what they want and what their club feels and means to them is myself, and I know what their thought process is, and how disappointed they will be at the moment as well. So there's no issue for them not to be disappointed, because we all are. We're all feeling it at the moment. But I would believe if there was a game on Sunday, I don't need to imagine. I know 100% what the atmosphere would be like in Bramall Lane on Sunday against West Ham, even off the back of the start that we've had. They've given myself and the players incredible support. I think what we've done over the last 4 years is really reconnect with the supporters and pull them all together. And I think they understand that. And they understand what's gone off over the last, especially the last 2 or 3 years, and what they've given to us in terms of encouragement, support, and all the things that you're talking about, and vice versa in terms of what the players have done for the football club and everybody connected to the football club in terms of re-establishing themselves as someone that's respected in the game now. And we've got to continue that. So I, as always, will be super appreciative of their support to myself and the players, and humble about that, and desperate to do well for them as much as to do well for the team and the players.
Just a couple, if I may, on the life of a manager. And the reason I ask, Frank Lampard said this week that being a manager is all-consuming, dealing with 50 problems every day. Is that how it is for you?
Yeah, pretty much so. But this is the route that we want to go in, and we have to take the good times. Looking at that, the Amazon documentary on Tottenham, and obviously we get a mention on that, and you look at great times there, and we've had some fantastic times over the period of the last 3 or 4 years. So we have to take the downsides on the chin and roll with the punches. Doesn't mean that you don't care or you don't feel it. You feel it, even more. And obviously Frank's got a huge connection to Chelsea, and I don't need to tell you what my connection is to my football club, regardless of what Tony Pulis says.
And just a final one from me. What do you think is the main ingredient to be a good leader and a manager in a situation like this?
Yeah, it gets tested, but it's not the first time that, from a personal point of view. I think somebody mentioned it to me yesterday. I've managed over 900 senior games, and come through that period without without a dismissal on the CV, and I certainly don't want one on from a personal point of view. But I understand the game. I understand how it rolls and how it is. So I think from myself and the staff point of view, we have to stick to our principles, believe in what we're doing. It's not a time, as I keep saying, one of my sayings, to take a wrecking ball to everything. You analyse, you reflect, you look at different things. But I think it's time to stay strong. From my point of view, have a positive outlook on everything, which I always have done, working for this football club as well. As I said, it's a huge challenge, but a huge, enormous responsibility and pride that I take in my job, and they all do. I think all our players, Paul. You know what they're about. You know what makes them tick. You know what makes me tick, and we're up for the fight. And as I said, I've been in a lot worse positions than this so far in my professional career, and managed to come through. I'm not going to say it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult. There's a fight ahead of us. It's not gone the way that we wanted it to go, but there's still a chunk of games to go. It's people will be having their opinions on us, in around Sheffield and the area and obviously nationally. But we have to, as I said, cut out all the noise on that and stick together as a group. And certainly, in a perverse way, Paul, I quite enjoy times like this. I think that's it's in my nature to fight. It's in our nature as a football club to fight, because there's certain things that have gone against us. It's a roller coaster of a football club, as you understand, because you're one of us. We've not always had it easy, and it's not easy at the moment, but we'll always come through and put up a fight, and I'm sure we'll do that for the remaining part of the season.
Oh man, good luck.
Cheers,
nice
mate.
to see you.
Cheers, Paul. Take care, mate.
Thanks, pal. Thank you.
Per from TV2 Norway.
Hi, Per.
Hi, Chris. Sorry, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
So, Norwegian government demanded Sander Berge in quarantine when he got back to Sheffield, and now 4 other players from that Norwegian squad has tested positive for COVID. Has Sander been in quarantine since he got back to Sheffield, and has he been tested for the virus?
Yeah, I've just left that. I've left that to the medical department to give us the all clear for Sander to be involved. So yeah, that's with them. So we're waiting on instructions from our medical department.
Okay, so he still hasn't been involved in any training since he got back to Sheffield.
We're just waiting, as I said, on from the medical department to give him the all clear.
But all this several players in the Norwegian national team has tested positive for COVID. Does this make you skeptical sending players on national duty and how they work with this virus?
Well, I can say none of our players have tested positive for a long period of time now, Per, since we returned to training, which is back in June, July. So obviously June, July, September, 6 months, 5 or 6 months. So obviously the bubble that we're in is a safe one here, but obviously it is a concern when they go abroad, and we're not the only club to obviously suffer with this situation of players going abroad and being put in situations. We've had obviously John Egan's situation a couple of weeks ago, but thankfully now with no international games now till March, we can get through this period and have everybody available.
When will it be decided if he will be available for Sunday's game?
Yeah, I'm just left that with the medical department, so they'll tell me. We'll leave it as late as possible.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Sean from PA.
Hey, Sean.
Yes, how you doing, mate? All right. A lot's been made this week about Oli McBurney's goal-scoring record for Scotland. I just wondered if you thought that was a bit of an overreaction, and as goals affect strikers, how's his confidence around the place?
He's all right. I signed him. We believe in him. I believe in all the players. It's been difficult for our strikers at the moment. As you can imagine, we're not going to, from a domestic point of view, from not being a negative view as a manager, we're not going to have in the Premier League, chances. Every 5 or 10 minutes, you're not going to have 15 or 20 chances in a game like we possibly had at Championship level, and especially when you're playing the likes of the teams that we've had recently. So Oli will be judged over a season from my point of view. Of course, he's in the team to score goals, as they all are, but it's not just about scoring goals, it's about picking up results as well. So, I've got that trade-off of getting results and forward scoring. Obviously, to get results, forwards have to score. So it's about us creating chances, but I think it's quite unfair over the recent games regarding Oli, because he's not had a lot of opportunities to score. But he understands the life of a centre forward, and especially the life of a Premier League centre forward.
Just one more from me. One of your young players, Reece Norrington Davis, there's been a few stories around today that other clubs are interested in him. I wondered what you'd made of his development, and have you been keeping an eye on him at Luton?
Yeah, of course we are. We keep an eye on every player that's part of our group, whether they're here or whether out on loan. We have loan managers. We have updates. I speak to players. I speak to their club managers. I thought it was a great fit. Reece did great last year at Rochdale, and his next challenge was playing week in, week out in the Championship, and obviously got an opportunity of playing for the national side. So he's coming along nicely, and he's one of our players. So he just needs to keep his head down and keep going.
Thanks, Chris.
Cheers, Sean.
Cheers.
We'll move on to the scribblers. We'll embargo this until 10:30 tonight. If you can keep it as tight as you possibly can and don't